Hey, what's up guys, my name is Charlie. Today we're going to be reacting to some more Nostalgia Critic, and it's going to be the top 11 Simpsons episodes. Oh yes, this is going to be totally awesome because one, we know it's not going to be a terrible, god-awful movie, so thank God we're finally going to do something fun and enjoyable that's not painful to endure. Yeah. I mean, The Simpsons have been around for a very long time. I think it's been around for what was it, 2019? So it's nearly 30 years now. There must be about 30 seasons. Jesus Christ, there must be a lot of Simpson episodes. Yeah, I remember watching The Simpsons as a kid, when I was like 6 years old, and my God, I absolutely loved them. They were great. But unfortunately, the latest seasons and episodes are not so great. They've sort of gone down the hill, which is to be expected when something's been around for like 30 years. Yeah, unfortunately, they're not so great. It's the same with the SpongeBob episodes. The latest SpongeBob episodes are not as good as the old season SpongeBob episodes. So I prefer the old season episodes of The Simpsons and SpongeBob. I think over time, when it goes on for more than 10 years, it degrades over time, which is unfortunate. Yeah, let's check out the video, shall we? Let's go. I can't believe I was talking about SpongeBob. Let's go. Hey, I like SpongeBob. Don't judge.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy. Remember it so you don't have to. There is no doubt about it. The Simpsons has defined a generation of humor.
Oh
It was
yeah.
slick, it was clever, it was satirical, it had unforgettable characters, and it left its mark forever on television history. Clearly it was ahead of its time and taken off the air far too early. And if it was still on air today,
What are you
I'm
talking
sure
about?
it
It's
would
still on
continue
there.
to inspire and challenge all of the masses out there. God damn it, it's still on!
Yep, still
Yes,
going
like
on.
most people, I really wish The Simpsons would just up and die so we could talk about
Yeah.
what a great impact it had on comedy as opposed to asking why the hell they're beating a dead horse with another dead horse. But either way, we still end up saying the exact same thing. Wasn't The Simpsons funny?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes. Yes, it was.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Despite the fact that they've more than overstayed their welcome, we still can't forget what an entertaining, quotable, and hilarious impact the show has had on
Oh
us.
yeah.
It's one of the most influential shows in that it helped form so many people's sense of humor. So many of us today get our delivery, our writing, our performing, and just our straight-up sense of comedy from the genius that was The Simpsons. But again, I must ask, which ones had the biggest impact? Which ones were the most memorable, meaningful, or just downright funny? Well, let's travel back to Springfield, Massachusetts. This is the top 11 best Simpsons episodes.
Alright. Oh
Top
boy.
11 best episodes.
Ooh, that didn't go well.
Number 11. Deep Space Homer. Just the title alone invites so many
I remember this
possibilities.
episode,
The Simpsons
yes.
take advantage of all of them. I mean, think about it. Homer in space. This is gotta build up a lot of good jokes. And it does. NASA's ratings, as well as their funding, is going down the toilet. So they decide to find the everyman to send up into space to get more viewers. The results are Barney and Homer, resulting in every kind of joke you can imagine out of these two. Drunk jokes,
For the duration of the training, there'll be no more beer.
What? 3 whole weeks with only wine?
exercise jokes,
There once was a man from Nantucket who's gone.
Ooh. Ooh,
Movie
that's
jokes?
definitely
The
me.
only danger is if they send us to that terrible planet of the apes.
they even got Buzz Aldrin to guest star. Isn't that great to hear one of the first men on the moon say?
Careful, they're ruffled.
The jokes range from
Ruffled.
visual, to verbal, to story-driven, to character-based. And just about all of them hit bullseyes. They showed us exactly what we wanted to see with this setup and had us laughing all the way through.
That was sad,
Number
alright.
10.
I love The Simpsons, the old classic ones. at
Itchy
least.
and Scratchy and Marge. This fuels an issue that is still being argued about today. How much of violence in our youth is based on media? In this episode, Maggie imitates a stunt she saw on Itchy and Scratchy and injures Homer on the head.
Oh,
When
damn.
Marge sees where it came from, she starts an all-out war with the cartoon makers. At first, they ignore her, but after a while she gains quite a following. Enough that the producers feel they have to change their product to a friendlier image.
It's not the same. No, they've destroyed it.
Kids don't like it anymore and partake in a revolutionary idea: going outside.
Going outside. Yeah, that's revolutionary.
Michelangelo's David comes into town, and all of Marge's followers want her to protest it. But in reality, Marge sees it as a work of art, which leads to a perfect crossroads of freedom of speech and censorship.
Well, what do you have to say to all those Marge Simpson wannabes out there who wish to suppress David's doodle?
But what makes this episode so great is that it's not directly attacking freedom of speech or censorship. It basically shows that whichever choice you make, there's always going to be consequences. In reality, they leave the choice up to you. Is it better to silence expression and free will in the hope for the greater good?
The greater
Let
good.
freedom ring, despite the fact that most of what we're giving people is garbage.
Hot Fuzz, great
It doesn't
movie.
take a side. It instead attacks everyone, which is when The Simpsons writing was at its best. In the end, there are no clear answers, but there are a lot of interesting issues. For a show that was certainly controversial when it came out, it would have been very easy just to throw together an episode where they say screw censorship. But instead, they took a very clever, very adult, and very thought-provoking angle. Not bad for an episode that mostly features a cat getting horribly disfigured.
Oh, damn.
Funny.
It was funny. Number 9.
Number 9. Homer's Enemy.
Oh,
This is easily
yes,
one
this
of
is
the
a great
darkest
episode.
episodes The Simpsons have put out.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie, that's what makes it so enjoyable.
I know.
We're introduced to a man named Frank Grimes, a
Oh,
genius mind who
boy.
had no breaks in life, was met with nothing but misfortunes, and never had anything handed to him. He gets a job at the power plant where he comes across Homer Simpson, obviously the exact opposite. Everything was handed to him, he has no idea about sacrifice, and is as dumb as, well, Homer Simpson. Grimes is horribly confused / enraged that such a man can exist, and wants to prove to Homer, the world, and himself that this is not how life works. People have to answer for their consequences and take responsibility for their actions. But Homer's actions constantly have no punishment. Actually, they do, except it's often given to Grimes.
How dare you destroy my valuable wool and spill my priceless acid? Stay the hell away from me, because from now on, we're enemies.
Oh, damn.
Do I have to do anything?
The more and more Grimes tries to expose Homer for the fraud that he is, the more and more Homer is rewarded and Grimes is punished. Again, they could have made
Oh,
Grimes
boy.
just the straight-up bad guy, but honestly, you really sympathize with him.
Yeah.
Why are sometimes good, smart people punished and bad, stupid people rewarded?
I've had to work hard every day of my life, and what do I have to show for it? This briefcase and this haircut. And what do you have to show for your lifetime of sloth and ignorance?
What?
2 cars, a beautiful wife, a son who owns a factory, fancy clothes, and lobsters for dinner.
It's just him trying to
It's
get some
crazy.
clarity in life and him obviously receiving no answers, or at least none that make any sense. I guess you could argue it's sort of a leave good enough alone story, but the ending is so dark and closes on an image that is downright mean-spirited that it reaches major uncomfortable levels as Simpson episodes go. And you know what? That's kind of funny once
I
in a
found
while.
it funny, yeah.
Sometimes we need something really harsh and mean to mix it up with all the shrugging happy endings we get
Yeah.
so much. And this one is definitely an enjoyably unpleasant episode. I mean, even for a Simpsons episode, the ending is shockingly aggressive. It's sort of like the No Country for Old Men of the show. You know you just watched something disturbing, but you feel even worse for having enjoyed it.
If you lived in any other country in the world, you'd have starved to death long ago.
Damn.
He's got you there, Dad.
Number 8. Okay.
Cape Fear.
Cape Fear.
This is one of those episodes everyone keeps bringing
Use a
up.
pen,
For a
Psycho
while,
Bob.
I didn't get why. It's funny, don't get me wrong, but why do so many people always pick it as one of their favorites? Well,
think it's-
watching it again, I found it's not just funny, it's really funny.
Yeah.
In the third appearance of Sideshow Bob, this was the first time he didn't have a diabolical scheme for power lined up, but instead just wanted straight-up vengeance on his arch-nemesis Bart Simpson. It was actually one of the first times you saw Bart in real peril, like someone was actually trying to murder him. And it came from the perfect person you'd want to see try to murder him. I guess from that angle it's pretty cool. I mean, we have seen this confrontation building up for several episodes, and they delivered it just at the right time, you know, before it became every other season. But on top of that, practically every joke works in this episode.
Yeah.
Big or small, visual or verbal. It's hard to think of a scene that didn't make me laugh out loud at just the absurdity of it. From Remember this, Jen?
This is dedicated to Bart Simpson with a message, I am coming to kill you slowly and painfully.
Oh, damn.
How about
That's
this
messed
one?
up.
Hey kids, wanna drive through that cactus patch?
Yeah! Yeah!
No.
Well, 2 against 1.
Oh. Yeah.
And
I like the
needless
rake
to
scene. Here we go. Yep. I love this scene. Someone should make a gif of this going on a loop or something like that.
throw in a clever knockoff of Cape Fear, and you have a damn funny episode with lots of laughs that pay off.
Wow. Good episode, yep. Number 7.
Homer at the bat. Again,
Homer at the
sometimes
bat.
just putting a character in a certain scenario is all you need. Homer playing baseball. Boom, the jokes just write themselves. Mr. Burns starts a softball team to which Homer seems to do surprisingly well with, all because of what he claims is his magic bat. But once Burns makes a $1 million bet with another power plant team, the game is on to cheat like nobody's cheated before. He gets some of the greatest baseball players of all time on his side and forms the ultimate super force. What makes this episode so good is not only the writing, but also the fact that they actually got these players to do the voices.
Damn.
They managed to give a lot of them sort of comedic personalities, like Daryl Strawberry's a kiss-ass, Steve Sachs is upbeat, and Ozzie Smith is trustingly naive. Even with all these people to juggle though, they still keep the focus on Homer, never losing track that is still his story. All of the players are funny and memorable, all our characters are funny and memorable, the conclusion is something of a perfect anticlimax, and it ends on one of the funniest stills of the show. It's an all-star cast with all-star jokes. What's not to love?
We're talking Homer, Ozzy and the Straw.
Alright.
Number 6.
Number 6. Let's see what this one's about.
22 short films about Springfield. A lot of people complain that the Simpsons episodes don't really have a flowing narrative. In fact, the story they start off with often has nothing to do with what they end on. Well, in this episode, they just go for broke and straight up show the lives of Springfield and their day-to-day troubles. We get a few minutes with Lisa, a few
Don't think
minutes
I've
with
seen this
Smithers,
one.
a few minutes with Dr. Nick, a few minutes with
Hi,
Homer.
Dr.
We
Nick.
even get a few minutes with Bumblebee Man. Surprisingly, what I do like about this episode is that they do sort of connect. Like, Lisa will be chased by bees, so we follow one of those bees to Smithers. He gets stung and goes to the hospital, where we see Dr. Nick is going to
Oh,
work.
I've seen
He ends
this.
up draining
Yes,
the
I have
power,
actually
which leads
seen
to
this.
the lights flickering in another story, and so on and so forth.
I
So each
remember
story
this
very
one.
loosely does come together. They even make fun of the fact that they're telling the story in such a strange way that they even make a few Pulp Fiction
Yeah,
homages. It's great
I
just
remember
to
this
see the
now.
characters do what they do, and not necessarily have to be bound by a 3-act structure all the time, as well as a happy ending. Sometimes the jokes and characters can simply come from the jokes and characters. I think the only nitpick I have is that while they did connect a lot of the stories together, they never did connect it through the commercial interruptions. And that really annoys me because it's like the commercials just get in the way of every...
He's doing a commercial right now. Yeah. Thank God we don't have to watch those commercials.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Marge versus the Monorail. This is
Monorail.
another one where the comedy is just on. When I think of an episode that just had a ton of energy, a ton of music, and a ton of jokes,
Monorail.
this one often pops in there. Springfield comes into a ton of money, and there's a town meeting held about what to do with it. A con artist recommends building a monorail, never giving away that he plans to buy cheap, faulty parts and keep the rest of the money for himself. And he recommends it in probably the most amusing of ways.
Yep, singing it. I think he died, the voice actor of this actor right now, what we're seeing. I heard he died, unfortunately.
Again, this leads to a lot of great possibilities, like Homer being the conductor,
Homer, there's a family of possums in here.
I call the big one Bitey.
a lot of the characters getting on board, discovering what happened to the original monorail, even somehow working Leonard Nimoy
Damn,
in one of his
yeah.
strangest cameos.
No. The world needs laughter.
It has a song number, it has action, it has great character-based jokes, it just has hit after hit after hit. And each one continues to get a bigger laugh after the next.
Yep.
There's nothing much else to say about it except monorail, monorail.
Monorail. Yeah. Mono. Yeah, there we go. I knew that was coming. I've watched all these episodes, they're great. Number 4.
Homer Homer the Great.
Ah, I
We
love
all
this.
like to fantasize about another world we don't see, where people get more privileges than the everyday common
Yeah.
person. Well, this is
A lot
the
of people say
Simpsons
this is
take
the
on it. Not only
Illuminati.
is it funny, but the layout of the story is just friggin' perfect. Homer stumbles across an ancient order of the Stonecutters,
Yep.
an organization
Also
that
known as
really
the
doesn't do
Illuminati.
anything except keep secrets and reward itself.
Put that sticker on your car so you won't get any tickets. And this other one keeps paramedics from stealing your wallet while working on you.
Oh, and don't bother calling 911 anymore. Here's the real number.
912.
Now that's pretty funny. Homer manages to get in, but gets in big trouble when he accidentally destroys their sacred parchment. That's also pretty funny. They discover a birthmark on him, though, that indicates that he is the chosen one, set to bring balance to the Stonecutters. And he, of course, abuses the power like mad. That's really funny. But then it turns out he is the chosen one when he starts to feel bad and takes on some responsibility by helping the community. Only to find that the Stonecutters don't want balance and instead want to go back to getting drunk and doing nothing. And the way they get out of being Stonecutters, I won't dare ruin for you here. But let's just say it's a perfect bookend to a perfect joke. And a clear sign of how stupid and immature the whole idea of privileged organizations can be.
Yeah.
It's another one of those that just has great joke after great joke, many of them ranging from very creative to just bizarre. Like, remember who makes up the Stonecutter High Council? How the hell did they even come up with those people? Well, if you don't know what I'm talking about, give it a watch and find out what you've been missing.
Alright. Great episode, yeah.
Thank you.
Number 3.
Number 3. Lisa's Wedding. The Simpsons have done a lot of what-if future episodes, but
yeah.
by far the funniest
And a lot of
probably
Halloween
the most
episodes.
heartfelt is Lisa's Wedding. This is the first time you feel like this is what the Simpsons would really be doing several years down the line. Bart's a construction worker, Lisa's top of her class, and Maggie apparently is a blabbermouth gossip, and yet we still never hear her talk. That is friggin'
Yeah,
genius. But
yeah,
it's
it
more
was.
than just showing us their future selves. It's following the story of Lisa meeting another student and falling in love. Once he proposes, the rest of the episode is the groom trying to fit in with the family, but hopelessly being disturbed and terrified by them. It's a good episode because not only is it funny, but it also shows Lisa's connection to her roots. And the fact that she can be annoyed by them but still not even flinch for a second about how much she loves them is really quite touching. On top of that, the groom is actually a pretty entertaining character too. It would have been easy just to make him a generic jerk, and granted they don't make him the nicest guy, but they actually do give him a few funny lines and a few good scenes to work off of.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a
an
good
English
episode.
boy, eh? You know, we saved your ass in World War II.
Oh, here we go.
in World War III.
That's true.
But of course we love seeing what happens to these people in the future.
Oh,
Mr. Burns,
yeah,
Krusty, Lenny, Carl. Every reveal gets a big laugh. It's also funny seeing our cute little innocent child characters suddenly get some more adult jokes.
You didn't have a bachelor party. We had one in his honor. I had one in his honor. I went to a strip club.
Throw on top of that a touching story with great character, and you have one of the Simpsons' finest.
And she's still there. Number 2. Alright.
The Halloween episode.
Oh, Halloween episodes.
Yeah,
of
I
course.
know it's a cheat, but hey, if I was to judge the Halloween episodes show by show, they take up half of the list. They're that
A lot of
good.
them are pretty
the
good.
Halloween episodes are a great excuse for the Simpsons to do whatever
The
they
Shining one was really
you
good.
know, before they start doing whatever they want. They were dark, they were creative,
Oh,
they were
yeah.
satirical, they were gory, they were cute, they were poignant, they were stupid. They were all just tiny little masterpieces. Plus, who doesn't look forward to those aliens every year?
What happened to us, Kodos?
Quiet, you.
Even with the last few Halloween episodes not being so great, you know you're still gonna watch them. We know they're worth looking at because even when you have to sit through the groaners, the bullseyes are still worth
Oh
it.
boy.
Even the worst Halloween episode has something to admire. They satirize everything from TV to movies to literature to urban legends. I suppose if I had to nitpick, I'd say the one downside is that the specials used to be tied together by something representing a narrative. Like somebody telling a story or someone having a dream, something like that.
But now
I
it's
do miss
just-
those, but at the same time, I do acknowledge it would be very tricky every year to come up with new ways to tell these shows.
Yeah,
So I
true.
do understand. But when you get down to it, that's not what we're here for. We are, in fact, here for the shorts. Even at its poorest, there's always something entertaining or creative, and the Halloween specials never disappoint on that front. Gothic,
Yeah, they're pretty
gross,
cool.
and just going all out,
The-
Halloween
the-
episodes are
the donut
always
machine.
a fave.
I love the Shining one where it's like, give me the bat.
Now, before I get to number 1, I want to point out that this is all opinion-based.
We're gonna hate it, aren't we?
Oh boy.
Everyone has their own different take on things.
It's a real bad
Okay.
one, isn't it?
What you might like, I might not. What I may like, you may
Hate
not
it
enjoy at all.
already.
Just show it.
That's right, yeah.
And
Number
the
one.
number 1 Simpsons episode is... Bart gets an F. Now,
Oh,
I know what you're
yes.
thinking.
This was
Wait a minute,
sad.
the first episode of the second
I like
season?
this.
Isn't that
I
just
like
the
this
one where
one.
Bart keeps failing? I don't
Yeah,
remember
because
that one
he
being
really
especially
tries.
funny. Why is this one so special? Well, there's several reasons why I think this is the best episode. First off, it was the beginning of the new animation style. The Simpsons weren't as rubbery or dead-eyed
Yeah.
like in the first season. Now they seem much more flowing, controlled, and alive. So that was a big deal. Second, this was a huge stepping stone in terms of writing. The Simpsons' identity was finally starting to evolve into that fast, satirical, tight way of telling jokes. In the first season, it was pretty slow and clunky, but here, this is where that great Simpsons speed finally starts to take off. But even that's not why I consider it the best episode. We're used to seeing Bart get bad grades.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's a troublemaker. It's part of the territory. But in this episode, it finally starts to add up. They have a real talk with him, much like how real parents and real teachers talk to kids as well.
Bart has failed his last 4 exams in history. Is there anything you're not telling us?
Okay, okay. Why are we dancing around the obvious? I know it, you know it, I am dumb, okay? Dumb as a post. Think
I
I'm
feel
happy
so
about
much
it?
for Bart. I feel so
As
sorry
shameful
for him.
and as emotionally crippling as it may be,
I think we've all gone through this, where we all fail no matter how hard we try.
The 4th grade.
What? You
Yeah.
can't hold me back. I'll do better, I promise.
Sure, that'll be the day.
There's suddenly something at risk, and something Bart values is now truly on the line. So, what? He buckles down, works hard, and everything is fine, right?
No.
Actually, no. He finds he has trouble focusing, can't remember any facts, and is constantly distracted by the world around him. He doesn't give up, though. He tries hard, almost to the point of torturing himself. He even prays to God for things to work out. But in the
But it
end,
doesn't
despite
work.
all his efforts, reality takes its toll.
Yeah, I
Well,
know,
Bart
it
is a
sucks.
59, that's another F.
Oh no, I can't believe it.
And in my opinion, this is the saddest fucking thing
I
I've
know,
ever
it's
seen in the
heartbreaking.
show.
It truly is, because we've all been here, where we've tried our hardest, and no matter how hard we try, we never get there.
Failing by now.
No, you don't understand. I really tried this time. I mean, I really tried. This is as good as I can do.
No.
And I still failed.
Oh god.
I identify a lot with this episode.
Yeah.
I wasn't a very good student growing up.
Nor
either.
was I.
I can tell you, all the talks, all the pressure, all the fears of failure are
Yep.
properly represented here. In my opinion, this is the most dramatic episode they've ever put out. There's no villain, there's no one element to blame, it's just a tough slice of life. And it shows that you can still try your best and not necessarily succeed.
Yep.
Which is a hard lesson for anyone to learn.
It's a hard
so
pill to
hard that
swallow.
They don't even really teach it that much in TV or movies.
No.
It's tough to deal with,
They
and this episode
teach you how to
doesn't
succeed,
sugarcoat
but they don't teach you
it
how to
shows just
fail,
what impact
or to
it has
accept
on you
failure.
and how much it can really hurt. Now, true, there is still a happy ending, but to be fair, I think it kind of works. His hard work does have some payoff, and he uses what he learned to his advantage. But this is the first, and in my opinion, only time The Simpsons had a perfect mix of good comedy, good storytelling, and surprisingly good drama. I've never seen an episode that balanced all three of those so well. You get sucked into Bart's dilemma, you feel bad for what he's going through,
Yeah.
and you want to see him come out okay. On top of that, there's still some good laughs, a lot of heart, and a satisfactory resolution. Although I will say, if his big concern is not repeating the 4th grade, then how come in every single episode he's still in the 4th grade?
Well, it's been
I
going
don't
on
know,
for
but
30
what
years,
I do
so...
know is that this is a truly unique episode, and in my opinion, the absolute best of them all. It's touching, it's funny, it started the style that we're the most familiar with The Simpsons. It's just a gem.
Hey, look everybody! John Hancock's writing his name in the snow!
Oh god.
I'm a nostalgia critic, I remember. What?
Wasn't there a game you played based on The Simpsons?
No connection
Oh
here.
yeah,
I'm
he
a
did
nostalgia
review
critic,
that,
I
didn't
remember,
he?
so you don't have
I'm
to.
only saying
Oh,
it's
what?
worth bringing
What?
up
I mean,
because,
really
you
think
know,
about
it
it.
had The
There's no
Simpsons
connection to
name
the
on
game.
it.
Okay,
You
sure,
could
it
make a
was
joke
Simpsons.
about it
Yes,
throughout
there
the
was a
entire
Simpsons game, but
video.
that doesn't
I
mean
don't
anything
know,
to
I
do with the
just
show.
feel like
Did
it was
Matt
such a
Groening
huge
specifically make the
disaster
game?
and a
Okay, I know he did some
huge
title cards where he did some
bomb.
drawings,
Yes, if
but
it
that doesn't
really
mean
does
that, you know,
hurt
the
you and it
Simpsons
really
writers
does
wrote
affect
it
you.
or
I mean,
anything
I'm
like
not
that.
saying
I mean,
it does,
it's not an
I'm just
episode,
taking
it's a
a
freaking
wild
video
guess
game.
here.
You know what? There's a
Because
lot
the
of
way you're
bad
acting
Simpsons
right
video
now
games.
does
I mean,
sort of
okay,
seem
that
like
wasn't
a
necessarily
whiny
the
little
course I couldn't have picked a
No,
lot
no,
worse,
no.
but
In
you know
my
what? You're a
opinion,
goddamn
you're an
elephant!
ass.
Yeah, address the elephant in the room.
Mano!
Mano. Oh boy. Oh yeah, Nostalgia Critic did a Simpsons video game review, and not everyone enjoyed the review, so a lot of people criticized his gaming reviews, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good, even though we got a lot of backlash. I thought it was pretty decent. Yeah, that was good. Top 11 Simpsons episodes. I agree, they're pretty badass. I also like the Simpsons episode when he's like, I am the smart. It's like SMRT, I mean SMART. That was great. That was hilarious, that episode. Yeah, I mean, I agree with the first one. I have to, because I think we've all been there when we've struggled, we've done our best, and no matter how hard we try, we still fail. And a lot of people teach us to succeed, like winning is all that matters. But some people don't teach us failure. You know, like it's okay to fail at sometimes. You know, sometimes we're just never gonna be perfect. We're never gonna get do something 100%. You know, everyone's different. Everyone's good at some things, and some people are bad at some other things. You know, everyone's different. Everyone's an individual. Not everyone is the same. You can't treat students and pupils like machines, like they all work at the same speed, at the same time. You know, they all have different needs and different takes. And yeah, when you start to treat all the students as the same as lining them up like salami machines and treating them with the same, it's not gonna work. You know, you gotta treat every pupil like individuals, their own needs and their own stuff, because everyone works at different speeds, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone works differently, and God knows I failed maths so many times. I mean, I just could not understand algebra. Oh God, I still have fucking nightmares of those root boxes and shit like that. I still don't understand it today. Fuck that. That's why I use a calculator. You know, I always said, the teachers always said, well, you're not always gonna carry a calculator with you, and you know, you're carrying a phone with you, which has a fucking calculator on it, so it doesn't make sense. But yeah, I use a calculator when it comes to mathematics, but I was just fucking dreadful at a lot of stuff. So I can understand Nostalgia Critic's choice of the episode, because we've all tried our hardest and we've failed. And you know, a lot of people don't teach us that failure is okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay to accept failure. Sometimes we have to recognize that we can't do everything perfectly, and people don't teach us that. It's something we have to learn for ourselves, which is really hard pill to swallow, because sometimes all we want to do is succeed and please everybody around us. But yeah, absolutely great episode. I remember watching it. It was very touching, very emotional, and yeah, it brings a tear to your eyes, because like I said, we've all been in that situation in our lives where we've been there. Yeah, if you like this video, make sure to give a like, comment down below, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.